We're recording.
Hey everybody, I wanted to let you know, John just mentioned it, but we're in recording right now because we want to be able to post this on our website for people who need the information later. So I just wanted to let you know that. I'm Victoria Compton from the San Juan County Economic Development Council. I wanted to say a big thank you today for coming, and we're hoping to convey all the information about the grant programs that we have currently running through our office. So John Gomez from our office is actually set this meeting up, and he has been the lead on both of these grant programs. So I'm gonna, without further ado, hand the mic over to John. But before I do, I wanted to say, if you need anything for your business, anything at all, call us. We can help business owners get unemployment insurance. We can help with unemployment insurance claims that are stalled. We can help you look at loan programs like the PPP, which is currently sleeping, but will probably be resurrected, and other programs that are of benefit to businesses during this terrible time. So anything that you need, if you just want somebody to talk to, call us, because we're here to help all businesses in San Juan County. Okay, now without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to John Gomez, and then we'll both come back on to answer any questions that you might have at the end.
Hi everyone, this is John Gomez. Well, some of you already know me from my time working at the EDC as the recovery coordinator. Tonight, we're just going to give you guys a quick overview on the two grant programs that rolled out within a couple of days of each other. They are kind of similar in some ways. They are different in others. And this is going to be both an opportunity for you guys to ask questions about these, as well as just kind of get a good overview on what they provide. I'm going to throw into the chat a link to this PowerPoint slide that I'm just going to share with you guys now, so you have it to refer to later. It has the links to the programs in them if you haven't already seen the program overviews. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so we can see it. So the first one that rolled out, we rolled out on the 26th of August. It is the Working Washington Small Business Emergency Grant. This is the second round. Many of you may be familiar with the first round of these that rolled out in mid-April, and they've gotten CARES Act funding to do a second round. Some of these eligibility requirements will look similar, and some will look different from the first round if you participated in that. Both of these grant programs are funded with federal dollars from the CARES Act. So our application intake and reporting criteria are quite different this time around for anybody that participated in Working Washington 1, which was funded with state money, or the Valmart grant in Friday Harbor, which was funded with private dollars. This one is, depending on need and the number of eligible applicants, the maximum award could be up to $10,000 per person, per business rather. They opened on August 26th. This is a quick turnaround program. The applications close at 5 p.m. on September 10th. This is open to businesses that have 20 or fewer employees as of the date of application. And what that means is 20 or fewer, we've had a few conversations with Commerce about this, 20 or fewer bodies. So we're not looking at full-time equivalent employees here, or just employees, or just full-time or just part-time. It's 20 or fewer bodies. This kind of opens it up to sole proprietors. It opens it up to places that may not traditionally have employees. So that's an important distinction with the Working Washington grant program. Both of these are, rather, neither of these is open to nonprofits or businesses that have already received funding from the first round of Working Washington or the EDC Valmart grant. Eligible expenses on Working Washington are a little bit more limited this time. We're looking at rent, utilities, PPE, personal protective equipment, procurement, which can also include exposure control. And you'll see more detail on this on the grant websites if you guys decide to pursue these. Exposure controls are things like plexiglass shielding if you need to purchase and have that installed in your place of business. air filtration systems if that's required, or if that's something that you deem necessary, as well as PPE, masks and gloves and face shields and whatever your particular industry requires. And of course, COVID testing for employees is also an eligible expense. These expenses can be incurred between March 1st of this year and the date your application goes in. And like the other like the Working Washington one, this one is a reimbursement grant, meaning you will be submitting your expenses you'd like to be reimbursed for with your grant application. Part of that is because we have such a short amount of time to turn these grant programs around that it will make things go faster on the back end. And there's the application link there. You go to our website, sanjuans.org, and the acronym for this thing is WWSBEG, Working Washington Small Business Emergency Grant 2. There you'll be able to see all of the application criteria, eligibility requirements, and if you feel like you meet all of those, at the bottom of that there will be a link to go to the application. You'll upload your reimbursement expenses and proof of payment in that portal. We've tried to make it fairly painless, but if you're experiencing difficulty with it, please give us a call or email us. We're in Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 on 2906. So, or you can email us at info@sanjuansedc.org. That is a very quick overview on Working Washington 1. This is out of the State Commerce Department, so our guidelines come from them, and we've done our best to get these out. The funding turnaround should be much quicker than on Working Washington 1, because it'll be funded coming basically directly from EDC. So there shouldn't be as much as delay this time as there was in the first round. Does anybody have any questions on the Working Washington grant? I know that was kind of a quick overview, but we can certainly take questions on these as we go. Doesn't look like anybody has their hands raised. I'll move on to the
I have
second.
a question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Hi. So I didn't quite catch. It was open to businesses that have no employees. Is that correct or incorrect?
If your business is, it's the owner operator is technically the employee.
Yeah.
You could apply for this.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. The distinction is 20 or fewer, and there's the way the county grant is structured, you'll see in a minute, there's that the county grant requires you have at least one employee. So hopefully that helps.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? And we'll be able to come back to this after we go through the county grant program, but I just want to make sure we're getting everybody's stuff along the way.
I have a question.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi. I was wondering on the Department of Commerce one, is it 300,000 for the county that was awarded? Was there an amount, a specific amount? Because when I was reading the Department of Commerce site, it was saying each county in the state was going to get, or no, read it off Inslee's site, but each county was going to get X amount of dollars. And I just wondered if our county got that as well, or was there a specific amount?
I'm not sure I'd have to look and see what it is you're reading off of. This was the Working Washington is a one pool of commerce money that is, I think, around 20 million for the state that's been allocated out of the state, out of the CARES money that the state received. The county had its own CARES Act money, and Victoria, you might have a little bit more clarity on this, but the county had like around 900,000, I think, and then a portion of that was set aside for the small business relief grant.
Right. No, I was just wondering on the Working Washington one.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't 300,000. I don't have the number in front of me, but
No, it was like 149, Becky.
Thank you.
Yes, and some of that actually is going to go to the Chambers and the Visitors Bureau to help support their support of businesses.
Okay.
Thanks, Becky. Thanks, John.
Sure. I think Becky must mute her stuff. Okay, I'll go quickly over the county small business relief grant. This was rolled out yesterday. Wow, that was a short week. This is going to be up to $5,000 per award, depending on the need and the number of eligible applicants. This too is a reimbursement grant, meaning you'll submit your receipts and proof of payment with your application. A little bit less, it's still an aggressive timeline, but applications for this will close at midnight on Sunday, September 20th. These are open, this one is open to businesses with 1 to 10 full-time equivalent or FTE employees as of March 13th, not counting the owner. Additionally, with this one, businesses must have both an EIN, a federal ID number, and a UBI number to be eligible. So owner-operators who are working just under their Social Security numbers are not eligible for the county grant. They are, however, eligible for Working Washington. So, you know, we've got a path for as many different kinds of businesses as we can, you know, fit into these programs. This one is also not open to nonprofits or businesses that already receive funding from Working Washington, the Valmart grant, or the Friday Harbor Business Rent Relief Program, which was, I think, about 3 weeks ago that they announced the recipients of those. So if you received any of those three, you would not qualify for the county one. If you got the Friday Harbor Business Rent Relief Grant, you are eligible for Working Washington. So this is one of those distinctions between the two programs that we want to make sure people understand. And like I said, there's a link in the chat for this spreadsheet that we're using. I'll throw it in there again for some people that joined late, including the links to the grant program applications. Eligible expenses on this one are similar to Working Washington. It's rent and utilities, COVID testing, PPE, and including exposure controls, as well as any cost to either establish or improve on your online merchandise sales platform. There was an interest in, you know, moving businesses over the last few months to try to, you know, engage buyers online, and this is, you know, so you'll be able to submit expenses related to that particular exercise for this program. You can apply on our website. It's a different link, but it's www.sanjuansedc.org/sjccares. And there you'll find all of the relevant criteria, the eligibility requirements, and a link to the application. That is it for the county grant. Does anybody have any questions about the county grant? Oh, I'm sorry, Krista, I see your question. No, it covers rent, and I apologize if I went a little fast on that. So it is rent, utilities, COVID testing for employees, PPE and exposure control, and costs to pivot to online sales. That's okay. There's a lot of information on these, and one of the reasons we're doing this again in this format tonight is just to make sure that, you know, it's one thing to send everybody a PDF. It's another one to just make sure that you all understand the particular distinctions between these. One other thing, and I'll bring it up here, it is in the Working Washington website. You know, there are businesses that may not have been able to reopen because they couldn't afford to purchase exposure controls. And if you have a plan for those, but you don't yet have the means to implement those or, you know, make those purchases, there is a place in the Working Washington grant application that you can make the case for that by uploading those estimates and showing us, you know, this is what it would take for us to, you know, reopen. So we tried to carve out a little bit of space for those situations. I'm not sure that anybody's, you know, in that situation at this point in time, but it could be out there. So again, we've just been trying to make sure we bake as much flexibility into these as possible. Businesses can apply for both grants if they're eligible. You can only receive one grant award. So, you know, just be aware of that. If you want to apply for both of these grants, you do have to fill out both of the different applications. They will go to different scoring committees, and there are different criteria between the two programs that we'll be looking at. So it's important to do both if you're going to do both. That once you've done one, the other one will look similar, and you'll already have your materials. And yes, these are reimbursement grants. We'll be requiring receipts with proof of payment for both of the programs. And this is because this CARES Act money has to be completely spent by the beginning of November. And we have a reporting period to Commerce, or the county does in their case to Commerce, which takes up about several weeks. And that's why these deadlines look so aggressive. It is because we literally have to spend the money as quickly as we can. So, Victoria, do you have anything that I missed on this one? Or is anybody...
I don't think so. I think you got everything. Absolutely. And it's kind of a technically, not exactly hugely technically challenging, but it's a picky grant application. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out to us, because we can help with every step of the way.
Sure. And I see Krista's, Krista's got a question about confirming how will we confirm if a business has received funding in a previous grant program? We have the funding lists, so, we'll know. And everybody, I mean, there's a little bit of an honor system to this, but, everybody has to certify on both of the applications. And this comes from the CARES Act language that they have not received funding from other sources, or there's a few things that they have to actually go through. Part of this is also, one of these is to make sure that we, get funding out to businesses that haven't been able to enjoy or receive grants money already. There are quite a lot of businesses in San Juan County that have yet to reap these benefits. And the other is, in all of the CARES Act language, there is, an auditor's look at making sure that businesses aren't double dipping on expenses, meaning you can, if you get more than one of these, more than one thing, you can certainly, use them towards rent, but you can't use like 2 pots of money towards your April rent, for example. And we're not sure how that's going to look down the road when, the auditors get a hold of all this, but we're trying to, look out for everybody ahead of time so that nobody has any issues down the road.
So I have a quick question, John.
Yeah, Kristen.
Just say in a fantasy world, because there is a restriction of having already received something from somewhere. Let's just say that no one applies for the San Juan County because they've already received a little bit of something. Or let's just say you only get a couple of people applying and there's a fairly substantial pot. Is there any room from the county to reset that criteria? Because like I see rent being one of the biggest fixed cost challenges.
Yep.
And so I'm wondering if the funding doesn't get allocated because there aren't enough people requesting it, or do we get to reset the criteria and give it to people that might have already received some relief?
Yes, let me answer that, because
Yeah.
I want to just say that we can't really answer for what the county would do. We don't really have an idea, because that's set by county council. I imagine that they would want to expand it, but I can't really say for sure. I do know that because, the Valamont grant went to San Juan Island residents, Orcas and Lopez will have somewhat better odds on these 2 grants.
And do you know if the Working Washington has any flexibility? Because I'm sure there are some people that didn't apply or didn't get awarded, but I'm just wondering if the money just has to go back to the pool, or can we reset?
Yes. For Working Washington, I would say almost definitely not, simply because it took them, 2 or 3 months to actually wrangle out the fairly restrictive rules around this iteration of it. So I'd say probably not. It would
Well,
probably go back into a different pool.
yeah. Well, I appreciate the opportunity because I'm sure there are some businesses that just couldn't get it going to get their
Yeah.
applications in the first round. And so if they
Right.
can have another run at it, that's great.
Yes.
Sure.
And I think that there were a lot of people who were kind of stunned. And so this is another pass at an opportunity for people who, were, scrambling or for whatever reasons just couldn't do it the last ones. Julian Battaglia has a question. Does unemployment count as a grant? Do you want to answer that? It does not.
I answered in the
Okay,
chat.
good.
No, it's not.
And then Rami Amaro, who says, who makes the decision on the distribution of the grants? I want to say hi to Rami because she's my neighbor. There's actually an independent committee that's going to look at every application and decide.
And there's two different committees, one for each grant program. The county will have a representative on the county grant program.
Yes, but it will be one of maybe 8 or 10 people.
Okay.
Thanks, Rami. Thanks, everybody.
I have
Let's see, so- yeah, go ahead.
Kat had her hand up. Oops. Oh, maybe she was leaving.
Oh.
Maybe there was a goodbye hand. Sorry. And
Sure.
I know Amanda spoke up. Sorry.
I have a quick question. I'm an owner operator with no employees. So the only one that works for me is the Working Washington. Is that correct?
Yes.
Bummer.
But that's okay, right? Or is there a reason that you wouldn't?
Oh no, I'll apply, but it's always
okay,
nice to have home turf advantage.
Yeah, no, I understand. Well, but, the pot of money, just keep in mind the pot of money that is, we have a pot of money from Commerce for the county to spend on Working Washington.
Yes.
So
It's already a home advantage.
Yeah, so it's not like a zero sum thing if you,
Right.
Oh, that's great. Okay, I applied
Okay.
before, didn't get it. So great. Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you, on the first Working Washington, we had probably 250 applications for what ended up being about 21 awards. So
Yeah.
we are extremely aware of the need that's out there. So
Yeah.
Thanks,
No,
Ed.
Kat- yeah. Thanks, Amanda. Kat, did you raise your hand or were you saying goodbye? Sorry, I couldn't tell.
No, I wasn't saying goodbye. I was just waving to someone else in the room. But this is very useful, and I'm looking forward to sharing this information with the farm, and also just
Fantastic.
learning from it from the institute how we can support something similar to this in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kat.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, it is 7:23. I don't have a reason to keep you guys here if you want to get on with your evening. I do want to make sure that everybody, walks away feeling like they have a good understanding. If you're able to access the chat, I've posted this document in there. You can go to our website on that link and download it and make sure you understand everything. Those are the web links for the two applications. And, we certainly hope to get as many people applying as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
It gives us, it gives us a clear picture of what's happening in the county, almost up to the minute. We're able to relay to Commerce where we see pockets of need happening. And so this kind of real-time feedback from the business community is really vital all the time, but especially during this time, because, everybody's pedaling as fast as they can, but moving at the speed of government dollars. So we didn't anticipate having both of these happening at the same time, but here we are. And, hopefully everybody's able to get their materials together and get them in the next few days. I know there's a holiday in the middle, and we tried to push these dates out as far as possible. So if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to take them now.
Well, and I want to say again, if you need anything at all, just call us. Our number's 378-2906, and I'll put that in the chat box too, because we're basically standing by to help anybody who needs the help. Because
I have a quick question. I'm kind of curious as to because I have attended a lot of the council meetings, but I didn't attend all. I think there's at least 2 that they discussed this. when you guys made presentations, but I'm wondering about the rationale behind not funding sole proprietorships from the county. Like you have to have at least one full-time equivalent, not yourself. Was there any direct discussion about that? Like, I kind of get it, but I'm just wondering.
I can find that. That was definitely a county concern, and I can find that out for you and send it to you, Krista, because I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious. They may not have a storefront or rent or something. I don't know. I'm just kind of curious why they did.
It might just be, they were trying to boost up bigger than just a sole proprietor kind of business, but I'm not sure, so I can ask.
I'm curious about that one as well, because I am a sole proprietor, so I'd love that information also.
Okay, and then Becky's raising her hand.
Yes, I would be. That's one of my main questions too, because many of our members, excuse me, are in the wedding industry, and they've just been devastated this year because every one of their weddings has been canceled.
Right.
And so they're facing storage fees for their equipment, and they've got rent, and they still have costs and marketing costs and things like that. So I just wanted to know who was setting up these guidelines that made it so strict that they couldn't apply.
A lot of it had to do with, because it's CARES money, it's federal CARES money. Most of these restrictions had to do with interpretations of that CARES funding, knowing that an audit, a really strenuous audit, is inevitable for this. That's why we're being really careful about what we submit, and we're being really careful to require receipts, and the county is being really careful about what is eligible. So if anything, if I had to guess, that would be it, just that it's such a restrictive pot of money from the feds.
Interesting. Well, thanks for this tonight. This was helpful.
Sure, and with those restrictions in mind on the county grant, again, we sort of it worked out, not intentionally, but it worked out anyway, that there is a pathway for businesses that may not be able to qualify for the county grant to go in for the Working Washington grant. So that's why it's important to look at both of these programs together, or the businesses that you're working with, and make sure that they understand that just because one might not work, the other one more than likely will. I think we're going to come up with, I haven't been able to come up with a instance where somebody can't apply for either, other than a sole proprietor that doesn't have rent or utilities or PPE or COVID testing. It's like the only place somebody could scale out is if they just don't have the expenses. But we'll have to see how these things net out once we see all the applications, and feedback from the community too. It's important for us to hear from you guys, what's working and what isn't, and so because I'm sure there will be another one of these in 8 to 12 weeks, and we'll be doing this all over again. Okay, somebody's got a question in the chat. I couldn't see it. Went fast. Sorry, I can't get that button. Julianne, yeah, sorry.
You want me to answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so the first Working Washington grant was incredibly restrictive in that there were those 200 plus applicants for those 21 spots, extremely competitive. So that was the first Working Washington grant. At this point, because we've got these two grants, it won't be as competitive, and we already winnowed out some of them with that first grant cycle. And then some people got money from Valmark and the Friday Harbor rent assistance. So this one is likely to be much less painful in terms of having to winnow it down. That's the hope anyway. And I have to tell you, a lot of what I've been doing in the last 4 months since that last Working Washington, I cried when I realized that there was only 21 grants for the 200 plus people. It was horrible. And so I started talking to the county and re-talking to the state about what they can do for our businesses in terms of grants. So this isn't the last, these two grants aren't the last grants. So if there's anybody who's not served by any of the previous grants or these two, which is possible, then we'll find the money some other way, because it's really important for us to support our businesses right now.
Okay.
Hope that wasn't too heavy, everybody. But it's we'll do everything we can to help any business. So just call us anytime.
And again, if you guys have questions, or your businesses you're working with are, sort of floundering when it comes to trying to digest all this, just please make sure they reach out to us, either on email or on the phone, or messenger us through Facebook, or we are now on Instagram. I threw the Facebook link up there. We publish a very robust news feed lately. And while a lot of you do get the newsletter, and we try to condense as much of that into the newsletter as possible, frankly, there's a lot going on between grant programs, unemployment, whatever the heck's going on with the next round of stimulus. And we try to boil it down to what is specifically pertinent to businesses and business owners up here. So if you don't already follow us on Facebook, I cannot highly recommend enough that you make the attempt. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter on our website as well, because that is chock-a-block full of whatever just happened. So if there are no other questions,
That's it.
we will post this recording tomorrow on our website, and I'll throw a link on our social media for where to access that. But have anybody that that missed this and wants to catch up on it, have them check out the website, and we'll make sure it's very prominent there. It's probably going to be on the news feed, I think. But we'll get this up probably tomorrow afternoon. And again, please reach out anytime, day or night.
Yes.
We're here to help.
Did you mention how to sign up for the newsletter that we send out? So we send it out weekly, or more often if there's something gigantic that comes through, like this grant, for example. So you go to our website, sanjuans with an S, edc.org, and the sign up link is at the bottom, on the bottom right.
That's right.
I'd be careful about day or night, John. That's a pretty broad time frame.
Well, sometimes that's like the time that people have, just to send an
Exactly.
email. So it's like,
Yes.
don't feel bad. If we're up, we'll see it. If we're not up, we'll see it in the morning.
Yes.
It gets scary at night for sure.
Yeah, but we've certainly all been through on a journey the last 6 months here. So
Absolutely.
not over yet.
Yeah.
And for everybody who does get the newsletter already, I know you've probably gotten 2 or 3 of them already this week. It's just been that kind of week. It's not always going to be like that, but we'd rather than not know. So.
At the expense of your inbox. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
And if you're not, and actually check your junk mail folders, because some people have reported they're seeing this going into junk for some strange reason. So if you're not seeing them a couple times a week, chances are they're somewhere in your email system.
Yes. I want to say a big thank you for everyone for taking time today. I know that if you're not typically working in the evenings, you're resting up from your hard day at the office during the day. So thank you for taking out time of your day to come to this. And thanks for everything that you're doing to keep your business going. Businesses really are the backbone of our community. And I'm just in awe of the hard work that everybody's doing to keep, as John said, pedaling along. So thank you for that too.
Okay, last call for questions.
Thanks, you guys.
All right. Thank you so much.
Take care, everybody. Hang in there and call us if you need us.
Good night.
Good night.